Standard 5 students. Today in science we will start a new chapter, chapter 13, the Earth's natural satellite. Let us start this chapter. Now, the Earth's natural satellite is Moon. So about the Moon, the Earth's only natural satellite. The Moon is the only natural satellite of the Earth. What is a satellite? A satellite is a body that revolves in a regular orbit around a planet. So Earth is a planet and Moon revolves around the planet Earth in a regular orbit. So it is a satellite of the Earth. Now let us see what are satellites. A satellite is an object that orbits in a planet. The Moon is Earth's natural satellite. Satellites stay in orbit due to gravity and there is speed which prevents them from falling to Earth or flying off into the space. So due to the gravitational force, satellites revolve around a fixed orbit and Moon is the Earth's natural satellite, and satellite is an object that orbits a planet. Now what is a natural satellite? Moon is the natural satellite of the Earth. So a natural satellite is an object that orbits a planet or other body larger than itself and which is not man-made. Such objects are called moons. So Moon is the natural satellite because it is not man-made and it is natural. Now the Moon, the natural satellite. Some more important information about the Moon. The Moon is Earth's only natural satellite and the fifth largest moon in the solar system. So whole solar system, Moon is the fifth largest one, which is the closest neighbor of the Earth in space. So Moon is our nearest neighbor in the space. After the Sun, the full moon is one of the brightest objects in the sky. So there is a brightest object that we can see is Sun, and after the Sun, only the full moon is the brightest object in the night sky. The moon does not have any light of its own. It shines as it reflects the light of the sun. Moon is not luminous, it is non-luminous, but it shines because the sun's light falls on it and it reflects the light of the sun. So you can see the moon in this picture. Now next we will see about the distance of the moon from the earth. The moon is situated at a distance of 3,84,400 kilometers from the earth. So why does moon appears to be the same size as the sun although it is smaller than the earth and the sun? So moon is looking the same size of the sun when we look from the earth. Why? The moon is smaller than the earth and the sun but appears to be of the same size as the sun because it is closer to the earth than the sun. Sun is very far, stars are very far from us, but the moon is the closest neighbor, it is the nearest to the earth, that's why it looks as the same size of the sun. Now next we will see about the surface of the moon. The surface of the moon has many features including mountains and valleys, craters and maria, wide flat areas that look like seas from a distance but are probably solidified molten rock. So moon surface is not even surface, it is also rough. It contains many mountains, plains, craters, valleys and this maria that is looking like seas from the distance but it is actually the solidified molten rock. The first surface of the moon is uneven and rough. The surface of the moon is uneven and rough. You can see the surface of the moon in this picture. It is not even, it is uneven and it is rough also. The moon has mountains and plains covered with rocks and dust. So there are big deep holes called craters on the moon. So when we go to, when people see on the moon, those who are going, these craters are formed when chunks of rocks called meteorites dash into the surface of the moon. When meteorites collide with the surface of the moon, they form very big deep holes. These deep holes are called craters. The surface of the moon has millions of craters. The rocks that were brought back to Earth by astronauts tells us that the surface of the moon covered with dark grey dust. So, when the astronauts, those who went there, they have brought the samples of the rocks from the moon, and it shows that the moon is covered with dark grey dust. Now you can see this picture also. So many holes are there in the moon. Now about the phases of the moon. It is also a very important feature of moon. So phases of the, we can see in the night sky different phases of the moon. That means different sizes of the moon. Every day it doesn't look the same size. Now why there are different sizes of the moon in the night sky? Let us see. So the lunar month is of 29.53 days. It takes to go from one new moon to the next. So from one new moon to the other new moon, it takes 29.53 days to moon. During the lunar month, it is called as lunar month. During the lunar month, the moon goes through all its phases. During this lunar month, all these phases we can see. You can see the phases drawn in the images below. Just like the earth, half of the moon is lit by the sun, because we also see day and night in the on earth, because the half of the earth that is towards the sun gets the light and half doesn't get. So there is day and night. But in the moon also, like earth, moon is also, half of the moon is lit by the sun while the other half is in the darkness. The phases we see result from the angle the moon makes with the sun as viewed from earth. So moon also makes an angle with the sun. That's why we see the result. The phases of the moon we see as an angle the moon makes with the sun as we see from the earth. So there are two types of phases in the moon, waxing and waning. So what is a waxing moon? A waxing moon is any phase of the moon during the lunar cycle between the new moon and the full moon. So from the new moon, that means darkness, to the light, the full moon. A moon that is waxing is one that is getting larger each night. That means the lit up part of the moon increases and it goes to the full moon. So it is increasing every night. Now what is a waning moon? A waning moon is any phase of the moon during the lunar cycle between the full moon and the new moon. That means from the full lit part of the moon to no lit part of the moon. That is new moon. It is a moon that is getting smaller every night. So we see in this the lit part of the moon getting smaller day by day. Now you can see the picture also, waxing moon and the waning moon. You can see the waning, first the lighted part increases day by day and it becomes the full moon. From the new moon it becomes full moon. Again it starts decreasing. In the waning phase it starts decreasing the lit part. So waning gibbous, after that third quarter, after that waning crescent, after that it again becomes total dark. So it is waxing and waning phases of the moon. When the moon passes between the earth and the sun, sunlight falls on the part turned away from us. So which part we cannot see, that is not lit by the sun light, us, and so the moon is not visible to us. So it is not lit by the sunlight, so it is not visible because moon is non-luminous, it doesn't have its own light. This happens on the new moon night. On the new moon night we cannot see the moon. Every night the lighted part grows in size till we see the full moon on the 15th day, that is waxing phase of the moon. On the 15th day we see the full moon, the whole lit part of the moon. From the next day the lighted part decreases in size and becomes completely invisible on the 15th day. Again it lighted part becomes smaller and smaller and it completely invisible. During the 15th day we see only the dark. This is known as the new moon day. The different shapes of the moon visible to us are called phases of the moon. Now next we will see phases of the moon. You can see how the new moon changes into a full lit full moon, and after again the full moon changes into a dark new moon. So this is waxing and waning phases of the moon. Now temperature variations on the moon. So there is a very much variation in the temperature on the moon. So let us see. Moon becomes boiling hot about 100 degrees Celsius during the day when there is sun, and freezing cold minus 150 degrees Celsius at night when there is no sun light. Then it gets minus 150 degrees Celsius, that is very much freezing cold. Now what is the age of the moon? The moon is 4.51 billion years old. Now some facts are there about the moon. Let us see. The moon is Earth's only natural satellite and is the 5th largest satellite in the solar system. So we know that moon is the only natural satellite that we know, and it is also 5th largest satellite in the solar system. It is the largest natural satellite in the solar system related to the size of its planet. According to the size of the planet, it is the largest natural satellite. The moon is non-luminous because it doesn't have its own light. No? It reflects the light of the sun. That's why it shines. The moon is the only celestial body on which humans have made a manned landing. So, moon is the only satellite on which the man landed. Now, this is all about the Earth's natural satellite moon. So, we will meet with the next topic in the next class. Thank you, students. Thank you all of you once again.